But there's just a few that have escaped my grasp. Unfortunately, I don't have these dolls that I'm gonna mention. Hey everybody, welcome back. So as I mentioned in my last video, this was supposed to be one big long video. So technically this is part two. At the time of filming this, I don't know if I decided to keep it all one video, but I guess if you're seeing this, then that means I decided to split them into two videos. So welcome to the second video from this that I filmed. But yeah, so today we're going to be taking a look at my Grail dolls. Sometimes it only takes like one person to ask a question for me to be like, that's enough, I can make a whole video about it. So let me go ahead and do that. So I did make a whole list and everything. So let's go ahead and jump back in time when I first started talking about my Grail doll list, and I guess we'll go through the list. Okay, so for the other reason that I'm making this video today, recently somebody left me a comment on one of my videos asking, what's my Grail doll? Now, if you don't know what a Grail doll is, basically a Grail doll is like the holy grail of all dolls that you want to have in your collection. They're basically dolls that might be a little harder for you to get, either because they're really expensive or they're rare and hard to find, or whatever the reason is. They're, you know, it's not as easy as just going to Walmart and picking it up off the shelf. Now, I started thinking about this because that was a really interesting question, because there was a few that popped in my head and then a few more popped in my head. And I don't know, if you're a doll collector, let me know if you can relate to this, but I have multiple Grail dolls. I don't just have one holy grail and the rest are whatever. Like, there are several dolls. It's a handful. It's not like every doll I don't have that I want is a Grail doll, but I have multiple Grail dolls. So I started making a list of all of the Grail dolls, and it started off with just a few, and then I added a few more. And I have Grail dolls that kind of span across different doll brands. And of course, there's like different levels of like Grailness. I don't know, what do you want to call that? Like how badly I want them. Anyway, it was one of those questions where I thought to myself, rather than just answer it in the comments, I have enough to talk about, why not make a video about it? Now, I did make a list here, but I'm not as good as some of the other YouTubers that like talk about stuff. I'm good at like opening a doll and showing it to you and just giving my honest opinions in that moment. But when it comes to like scripted stuff, I don't have as much experience with that. So this video may not be as organized as Darling Dolls or Beauty Inside a Box, which, by the way, those are two other YouTubers that I really enjoy watching their videos. So if you haven't seen their videos, go check them out. Anyway, I made a list. I'm gonna read off this list and just maybe give you a little bit of like information about the dolls, and if I can find pictures of the dolls, I will put them up on the screen so that way you can see which doll it is that I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to be going through these dolls. I didn't really do them in any order, but I tried to bunch them together. So like if there's multiple dolls from one brand, I'm going to talk about all those before moving on to the next brand. And then at the end, I will go over my absolute top, my definite Grail dolls, like the most sought after, like the dolls that I want the most. So anyway, why don't we go ahead and get started? And I don't think there's any better place to start than Barbie. All right, so starting off, Cut and Style Barbie. Now, I already have a review on my channel for Cut and Style Barbie. These were like buying back my childhood dolls, but I bought the Cut and Style Barbie, which is the blonde one with the blue eyes and the pink dress, and I also got the redhead Barbie, which came in. What is she wearing? I think she's wearing like a neon green color. But in that line, there were two other dolls that I also wanted, just because I don't know why I wanted all four of them. But I wanted to get the African American one, just because I kind of wanted to complete the whole set. Oops. And the African American one is beautiful. I didn't get her because she is more expensive than the other dolls, so I haven't had a chance to get her. And I would consider her a Grail doll as well, but not as much as the brunette doll. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I have a thing for the brunette dolls. I'm a brunette. When I was a kid, I always saw that, and I also was very much into Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, and she was a brunette, and I always associated that. Like, I loved the brunette dolls, mainly because of Lara Croft, if I'm being honest. So for that reason, the first entry on this list of my Grail dolls is the Cut and Style Barbie with the brunette hair. The reason I don't have her, once again, she's just more expensive than the blonde one and the redhead one. Those ones, I guess, are a lot easier to find, or maybe they produced more of them. I don't know, but the brunette one, for some reason, is much more expensive. I would prefer to get one in box because that's what I got for the other two, and I'd love to have a brand new one with no, like, the hair hasn't been cut or anything like that, and in great condition. But if I can find one at a good price on eBay, maybe I'll get one out of box or used, but yeah, they're just more expensive. You're also going to notice a theme here because most of the dolls that are on this list, that the reason I don't have them is because of the cost. They tend to be more expensive or just sometimes harder to find, because some of these dolls that I'm going to list, they are expensive, but also they are just hard to find. Nobody's selling them, stuff like that. Some of them, like the next couple that I'm going to tell you about, are not difficult to find at all. I just haven't gone out of my way to get them just yet. But also talking about Barbie, let's talk about glitter hair Barbie. Now, my favorite Barbies of all time are the hair play Barbies from the mid-90s. Those are my favorite. And like, I love when Barbies have super long hair. Now, of course, my favorite Barbie from the 90s is Hollywood hair Barbie, but one of the other ones that came out around that time that also had super long hair was glitter hair Barbie. She had super long hair, she was beautiful, she came with a little tube of like glitter hair gel, so you could put that in her hair and make her hair all sparkly. She had the cutest little mini dress, and I don't even think she was like that big of a deal. I think she was like more of one of the budget dolls actually at the time anyway. But I definitely want her, and I want the blonde Barbie, and I also want the brunette Barbie, of course. Like, I wouldn't mind getting any of them from that line, but specifically I want the Barbie for nostalgia, and I want the brunette Barbie or Teresa. I don't know if it's Teresa or brunette Barbie because there is technically a difference, but yeah, I think I want the brunette one more, but I want both the brunette and the blonde. Next up is jewel hair mermaid Barbie. Now, this Barbie, outside of maybe a Rapunzel Barbie, is the single Barbie that has the longest hair. She is a mermaid. She comes with these little stars that are like Velcro that you can like stick in her hair, and she is just gorgeous. Now, I was lucky enough to find a jewel hair mermaid Barbie a while ago, a few years ago. I don't know if I found her at a thrift store or if I bought her off eBay, but I was able to get her secondhand. She's not in the greatest condition. I still have to clean her up, and it's been like a couple years since I got her. But I really need to clean her up. So I do have the blonde one. I would like to get one that's in better condition. Also, I want the brunette one. The blonde one came in a gold outfit, but the brunette one came, I think, in this burgundy color, like a maroon or like a purple color. But she is so pretty, and I really want that doll. Keeping in theme with the brunette Barbies from the 90s, I really want the brunette Totally Hair Barbie. Now, what I love about this version of Totally Hair Barbie is, yes, she's brunette, but her dress was blue instead of pink, and I really liked that coloration for that like pattern that they did. I don't know, I think that Totally Hair Barbie is amazing. I genuinely love the brunette color scheme on her, like her outfit and everything. And I have a reproduction of the blonde Totally Hair Barbie because, you know, I had to have her. But it is a reproduction, and they did not do a reproduction of the brunette version. Otherwise, I would probably have that as well. But I definitely want that brunette Barbie, as well as the next brunette that I'm going to talk about, Hollywood hair Teresa. So in case you're not familiar, Hollywood hair Barbie was a Barbie in the mid-90s that came with this magic hairspray, or hair mist, or whatever they called it, where you'd spray it on her hair and her hair would turn pink. Now, I do have 2 videos about this topic for my Hollywood hair Barbie and my Hollywood hair Skipper doll, and I went through the process of figuring out what made that hair color change happen, and I was able to find out it's basically a disappearing ink trick, and it is a chemical reaction. Also, I was determined to recreate that effect, and I was successful at doing it. So if you want to see how I was able to make the hair color change work. You're gonna have to watch both the Hollywood Hair Barbie video and the Hollywood Hair Skipper video, because I made the hair mist and did all the chemistry aspect in the Barbie video, but I didn't get it to actually work until the Skipper video, because I washed her hair before I tried the mist, and I washed out all the stuff that was in it that turned pink in the first place. But anyway, that's still a fun video to watch, so I'm gonna link those down below or up in the thing, I don't know, whatever. There will be a link somewhere if you want to check out those videos. But Hollywood Hair Barbie is very nostalgic for me, and she is definitely my favorite 90s Barbie, and I'm so happy to have her. In fact, I have two of her, and this one I put on a made to move body just because, you know, I like the posability. But I love this Barbie. Look how long her hair is. It's so silky, and she's just so gorgeous. And she was one of my Grail dolls, or she is one of my Grail dolls, but I have her now. But who I don't have is Hollywood Hair Teresa. Now, I don't really care about Hollywood Hair Ken. I'm not a huge Ken doll collector, especially from the 90s. Like, I like some of the newer Kens, especially if they are a made to move body. But I wanted to collect all of the Hollywood Hair dolls. I didn't, besides Ken. So far, I have Barbie, I have Skipper. I love them both. I just need Teresa. And she comes in this gorgeous, like, gold and orange outfit. She is so pretty. And it's one of the few times you're going to see Teresa as a blonde. But as much as I love the Hollywood Hair dolls from the 90s, definitely, like, it's no surprise that Teresa is going to be on my list, especially since I love Teresa. All right, and finishing out the Barbie section, I have the original brunette Barbie. Now, I don't own any Silkstone dolls. I also don't own any original Barbies or reproductions of original Barbie. And they're not the highest on my list because they're a very different style from what I grew up with Barbie and what I think of when I think Barbie. However, I would love to add to my collection the original Barbie, like in the black and white swimsuit. It doesn't have to be that one specifically, like it could be one of her other outfits and stuff like that, but I would love to have her in the black and white swimsuit because that's very iconic since it was the first Barbie. And when Barbie came out, she was brunette. Well, okay, to be fair, she came out as a brunette and she came out as a blonde, but there was a lot of the marketing that showed her as a brunette, and the little girl she was named after, Ruth Handler's daughter, is brunette. Not that any of that matters. I just happen to like brunette dolls, and if I had my choice between the blonde and the brunette, I would prefer the brunette because I really like the way she looks, especially with that like harsh eyeliner and that side glance and the cute little pout and everything. I think she looks so pretty. Now, I would not complain if I got the blonde one because I know that everybody thinks blonde when they think Barbie, and I totally get that, and I do as well, and I do like that version of her. But like I said, if I had my choice between the two, I would rather have the brunette. Oh, okay, we're not finished with Barbie yet, sorry. So there is a couple of collector Barbies that I really do want to get my hands on because they are so stunning. First of all, we have the Barbie Mermaid Enchantress. This doll came out at the same time as my Dragon Empress that I've got up there, or not at the same time, but she's part of the same line. But this particular mermaid doll, I think is stunning. I love her coloring. I love her jewelry and accessories and hardware that she's got on her. And I love her tail. I love her hair. Her face sculpt is so pretty. Like, everything about her I love. And because she kind of goes with my Dragon Empress up there, I would really like to get her for that reason. She's also articulated. Dragon Empress is on a Model Muse Barbie or body, and she's like in that pose permanently. But you've got but the Mermaid Enchantress is actually fully articulated, so you can actually pose her, which I like that. Another Barbie limited edition or collector doll that I really want to get, it's called the Bill Greening's Fairway Forest Water Sprite doll. It's a long name. I had to look at it because I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. But anyway, it's the Water Sprite. She is so pretty, and like, just looking at her, I'm sure you can guess why I like her, because like, she's the color scheme that I love. She's blue and purple and pink and like pretty, and like I love everything having to do with water. I like water Pokemon. I like mermaids. I like, she literally fits within that realm of things that I like. And she's also just stunning in general. I mean, she's a beautifully designed doll, so it's probably no surprise that she's on this list. Now, I'm sure that there are other Barbie collector dolls that are out there that would be on this list, but I tried to make this list with the dolls that came to my mind without me having to look up what's out there, because otherwise this list would probably be really long and it would just literally end up being a wish list. I'm just talking about Grail dolls right now. Okay, now we are moving away from Barbie. Let's talk about Monster High. Okay, so a few of these are not necessarily hard to find, but Monster High has become more expensive now that like the original series has been discontinued. We've got a lot more collectors out there now, and the price and value and everything has gone way up, so they're just more expensive to get. That being said, a lot of these are not like collector dolls or anything like that. They're literally the signature dolls for some of these characters I'm going to mention, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. These are just dolls that I really love above some of the other dolls that I don't have already, and these I'm considering Grail dolls because they are actually hard for me to find in decent condition at a decent price. So of course I'm going to start off with Invisibility. I don't collect a lot of boy dolls, but for some reason Ever After High and Monster High, they did something right. I really like the Monster High and Ever After High boy dolls, and Invisibility is definitely my style. I love his longer hair. He's got the beanie, you know, he's got a hoodie. Like he's really cute. I like his design, and I like his color scheme. Next up is Rebecca Steam. Now there are multiple Rebecca Steam dolls, and I don't own any of them. I would love to get any of them because I love Rebecca Steam's design, but really if we're talking Grail dolls, for me, her signature doll is just beautifully designed. The fact that she's like I don't know if she's an automaton or a robot or how you want to consider her, but she is so beautifully designed and so much thought went behind every little detail. She's very steampunk in her aesthetic, but her body is molded with like creases and like nuts and bolts and stuff where she's put together. And her irises are the shape of little gears or cogs. And even like on the back of her calf, there's a little cog wheel that actually spins. I love the way she looks. She is beautifully designed, but there's so much thought behind it. I love her. Another doll that I'm kind of obsessed with the way she looks is Catty Noir. Once again, there is multiple Catty Noir dolls that are out there, but I want her signature doll, mainly because she has really long hair. But I love the way that she looks in her outfit, that like concert outfit that she has, that dress. It's all silver and pink. And I love dolls with really long hair and with like high ponytails. And she has both. And she's just a stunning doll in general. All of her dolls are stunning, but specifically her signature doll, that is the one that I'm considering a Grail doll. Once again, she's just harder to find in a good condition at a good price. Next up is another Monster High doll, but this one's a little different. I love Elizabeth, and I have one of my Grail dolls for Elizabeth already in my collection, which I'm going to talk about later on in another video. I love her signature doll, but I also really love the frightfully tall Monster High dolls, the 17-inch ones. I don't know why, but those are some of my favorite dolls. And those are the dolls that brought us Made to Move, by the way, because they are so fully articulated, and then they used that design for the Made to Move Barbies, and so that's a whole separate video. But along with Draculaura, Claudine, Frankie, Gulliapi, there was also another character that they made into a frightfully tall doll, and they chose Elizabeth. Now, I love Elizabeth's signature look. I don't have a signature Elizabeth doll, and I would put her on this list, but she's a little easier to find. I think the one that I really want is the frightfully tall version of her, because she looks so beautiful, and I'm just kind of obsessed with the frightfully tall Monster High dolls. Also, the frightfully tall Monster High dolls are stupid expensive. Like, I don't know why they are more expensive than the other dolls. Maybe they didn't make as many, like they weren't as widely spread or something like that, so they're harder to find. Or maybe they're just more sought after, I don't know. Either way, they're harder to find, I want one. To be fair, I also don't have a Draculaura frightfully tall doll. I do have a Claudine. I was able to get her at a thrift store with most of her outfit, so I'm gonna clean her up and put her together. I have a Frankie, but she had a really wonky face, so I repainted her and turned her into a Christmas doll, so I do technically need another Frankie for just my Monster High collection. And of course, I have the Ever After High tall doll, Madeline Hatter, because she's my favorite character. I actually have 3 of that doll because I loved it so much. I have 3 of that doll. But I think my favorite and the one I want the most is Elizabeth. Next up is Monster High Scarily Ever After. all three of them. These dolls are so cute, and this was where like everybody started like thinking, oh, is there going to be a crossover between Monster High and Ever After High? And to be fair, they were working on a crossover at one point in time, but that's once again a topic for another video. But I am obsessed with Ever After High. I love the whole like storybook characters in more of a modern light. Some of the book series I've been reading recently include The Story Thieves and The Land of Stories. They're both kids books, so they're very easy reads, but the stories are fun. And the fact that you've got these Monster High characters, you've got Claudine, Draculaura, and Frankie that are dressed up as Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White, and Cinderella respectively. I think they are so cute, and I think out of the three, my favorite is definitely Claudine as Little Red Riding Hood. I don't know why, like I've never been a huge fan of Little Red Riding Hood. Like I never cared. It's not like I like disliked her or anything like that. I didn't care about the story. I knew the story, but for some reason whenever but for some reason whenever after talking is hard, sorry. Whenever After High came out, I fell in love with Cerise Hood, and I've like since that moment been obsessed with Little Red Riding Hood, and any doll that's related to Little Red Riding Hood I love. Once again, I don't know why, but it happened. And the fact that Claudine is dressed as Little Red Riding Hood, you've got literally Little Red Riding Hood mixed with the Big Bad Wolf. Very similar to how Cerise Hood is. Like, I got really excited when I saw that doll, and if I had to pick from the three, she'd be my top, like number one. I want her the most. But I genuinely like the design of the other two dolls, and the fact that it's Frankie as Cinderella and Draculaura as Snow White. Like, I love those. They had really cute names too, and I don't remember what Frankie's was or Claudine's, but I know that Draculaura's name was Snow Bite instead of Snow White, so they had really cute little pun names as well. But yeah, I love that. I love that line. All right, and next up from Monster High, of course, we got to talk about Sweet Screams. Now, I know that I've mentioned this in videos before. I don't talk about it all the time, but I have mentioned it before. I love sweet-themed dolls. I love dessert-themed dolls. I don't know why. I love them. I think they are so cute. Some of my absolute favorite Ever After High dolls of all time are the sugar-coated and just sweet dolls that they came out with a while ago. I am obsessed with those dolls, and I am lucky enough to own all of them because I was collecting when they were on the shelves and released, so I was able to get them at the time at retail. And I'm glad that I did because those are expensive now on eBay. But the ones I didn't get my hands on are the Monster High ones because I think I wasn't collecting Monster High as much at the time. But yeah, I love the Sweet Screams dolls. If I get those dolls, I'm going to get out the sugar-coated dolls and put them with the Sweet Screams dolls on my shelf. Like, I'm going to display them, and that's going to be like my proudest shelf ever. But I love how like their entire outfit and all their accessories is just so done up so cutely with all the different like candies and stuff, and each doll has a different theme. I think like Frankie is licorice. I think Ghoulia is like gummy bears and gummy worms. Oh no, I think Frankie might be peppermint, and I think that Draculaura was licorice, and Abby Abominable was ice cream. I think it was those four. I might be forgetting one, but I think it was only those four. Now, I do have a Sweet Screams Abby Abominable. I got her at a thrift store. I do, like, I think she might have the underdress, but that is it. She doesn't have her shoes, accessories, anything, and her hair was cut. So unfortunately, she's not in the best condition. I'm gonna do my best to clean her up at some point, but I still want to get a complete Abby from the Sweet Screams line along with the other three. But yeah, I'm obsessed with them, and they are, no question about it, they are on this list. All right, so that was Monster High. Let's move over to Ever After High. Now, I only have a couple entries on here because luckily I own almost every Ever After High doll that I want to own, but there's just a few that have escaped my grasp. Unfortunately, I don't have these dolls that I'm gonna mention. So, Hat-tastic Tea Party, Apple White. I love the Hat-tastic line. I'm obsessed with Alice in Wonderland. I love Madeline Hatter. She is my favorite character, and she is the daughter of the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. And they did the Hat-tastic Tea Party, which is essentially a Mad Hatter tea party, but they included some of the other characters, including, I think, Cerise Hood, Briar Beauty, Apple White, and maybe that was it? Oh, Cedarwood. I think there was a Cedarwood doll. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get my collection out later and check. But one of them that I know for sure that I do not have from that line is Apple White. Now, this one may not be super hard to find, but she's just expensive because all Ever After High dolls are really expensive on the secondhand market right now. Since she's like not super hard to find, I have her on this list because I really want to complete my Ever After High collection. Some of the other dolls, just like as honorable mentions from Ever After High that I don't have that I want, are the Getting Fairest dolls. I have Madeline. Of course, I own every Maddie doll, but I don't have Apple White, and I don't have Briar Beauty, and I don't remember, I think it was Raven Queen was those three. I don't have those three from the Getting Fairest line. And I would like to get them to complete it, but I wouldn't consider them Grail dolls. That's why they're only like honorable mentions. But the Hat-tastic Tea Party one, I would consider a Grail doll because I love her. I may have been annoyed by Apple White in the cartoon, but the dolls usually look beautiful. Which brings me to my next Apple White doll that I don't know why I don't own her. In fact, I think there's 2 doll hunting videos from several years ago where I went to Toys R Us with Samantha, and each time I pointed out this doll on the shelf and I show her in the camera. She was there, they had tons of her. I could have bought her, but I didn't, and I think it's just because at the time the average price for dolls was a little bit lower and this was a slightly more expensive doll. I look back on that now and I laugh because like she was only $30. At the time, that felt more expensive. Now the average Rainbow High doll is $30, so whatever. But of course, I am talking about the Royally Ever After Apple White. This was kind of like the counterpart to the SDCC release of Raven Queen, which they did end up doing a Playline version of that Raven doll, and I do actually have her. She's right here. This is the Playline version. I didn't get the San Diego Comic-Con version just because this was a lot more affordable, because it was around the time that Toys R Us was going out of business, so I got 2 of her for like $10. I think they were like $5 each because they were on clearance. And I was like, yes, please. But anyway, yeah, I was not going to pass up the Raven because she is stunning. But I passed up, like a dummy, I passed up the Apple White. So I really want this doll because I think she is so stunning. She was definitely a little bit more of a kind of a collector level doll. Like at the time, they didn't have full-on collector dolls other than the San Diego Comic-Con ones for Ever After High. But if there was such a thing as a collector doll at that time, it would have been this Raven and that Apple White. So yeah, I always get mad when I think about the fact that I could have had that doll. I could have bought her, and I came this close to buying her, I think 2 separate times. But at the time I was like trying to buy dolls when they were available on a coupon and stuff like that from Toys R Us, and I just never bought her, and now I regret it. So I really, really want the Royally Ever After Apple White. Next up is actually a Legacy Day doll. Now I own all of the Legacy Day dolls, and I own all of the Throne Coming dolls, except for one. There is one that has eluded me, and of course it's Raven. I have the Throne Coming Day Raven, and she is gorgeous, but the Legacy Day Raven is so stunning. I don't know what it is about like her color scheme and the design of the outfit she wears. I am in love with that doll, and of course I haven't been able to find her, and she's really expensive now. The Legacy Day dolls are more of like the deluxe dolls that came out at the time, because like I said, they didn't really have like collector level dolls necessarily, but they had the regular Playline dolls, they had some budget ones, but then they also have the deluxe ones. They're still Playline dolls, but they are much more embellished, much whatever. And this is back when the design of the packaging was still so beautiful. So just to kind of, oh, she's dusty. But just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, here is Cerise Hood from the Legacy Day collection in her box still. And I love the way that these dolls are displayed. I have not taken them out of the box because these dolls, first of all, they're so stunning. But second of all, because this is my favorite box design, where it's kind of rounded. It looks like a book. So like here's the spine of the book, and it looks like, you know, like if the book was open and she's stepping off of the page. I love this. I think that this is so cleverly designed. I'm sad when I was very sad when they decided to change the design of the boxes for Ever After High, but these were the earlier on ones that are still like this, and they're some of my absolute favorite dolls, but I don't have Raven from this collection. And those dolls, since they are more kind of like deluxe or whatever, I think they're just more sought after. And because of that, they just happen to be more rare or just, you know, more expensive. So I don't have Raven, but that's one of the ones that I really, really want in my collection. All right, so moving on. So that was pretty much it for Ever After High. Like I said, I didn't have a lot on this list because I own most of the Ever After High dolls that I want to own. But But those were the 3 that I did want to include. So next up is from kind of like an obscure doll line that I haven't really talked about a lot on this channel, but Disney came out with some dolls a while ago that were themed around some of the attractions that they had at the Disney parks. And of course they were like done after some of the staple attractions that are at both Disneyland and Disney World, because they sold these dolls at both places. And of course, these dolls were called Attractionistas. Now that is a play on the word fashionista mixed with attractions. If a fashionista is obsessed with fashion, Attractionistas are obsessed with the attractions. See what they did there? But a while ago, I was on a mission to collect these dolls. I went to Disneyland in, I want to say 2015, and they had them on the shelves. Once again, it's one of those stories where I saw them on the shelves. I could have got them. But to be fair, I did also get my 60th anniversary doll there. I got the 60th anniversary Aurora doll, so both of those. I also got the like mini sets of all the Tinkerbell fairies. And then they had 2 4-packs of these mini princess dolls. They had this one, and then they had another one that had like Ariel, Jasmine, Merida, and I forgot who the 4th one was. But anyway, yeah, so they had these, and I bought both 4-packs all on that same trip. So at that point in time, because I had bought so many dolls, I decided not to get started on the Attractionistas. I had to limit myself. But I was kind of sad about it, because then the next time that I went back to Disneyland, which was like a year later or a couple years later, whenever it was, they had stopped selling them. They were gone. They were sold out. I didn't know it because the video's on my channel and you can see me going around. I even at one point stop and ask a couple cast members, hey, do you have these dolls anywhere? I have no idea which video that is on my channel, but it does exist. It's one of like, I want to say like maybe 2017 or something, one of those Disney trips. But yeah, in 2015, I could have gotten all of these Attractionistas, but I didn't. So I started collecting them later when I would find decent prices on eBay. Now I have all of them. I have the Teacups inspired one. I have the Carousel inspired one, Pirates of the Caribbean, Space Mountain, and one of the ones that was really hard to find and really expensive to find was the Hollywood Tower of Terror themed doll. Because if you don't know, they actually rethemed the Tower of Terror in California from the Twilight Zone to Guardians of the Galaxy. So of course, immediately when that happened, this particular doll, who was like themed after like one of the bellhops, she was like became very, very rare and sought after, so she got really expensive, but I do have her. I was able to get her. One doll that I didn't get because I didn't know existed until like way after is the Splash Mountain themed doll. So this Attractionistas doll is named Briar, and she's named after like the Briar Patch or whatever from Splash Mountain. She's really pretty and I do really want her, but she is really expensive. Well, she's not as expensive as the Tower of Terror doll was. The issue with her is nobody's selling her. Like I go onto eBay every so often just to search and see if I can find it, but nobody has her, so nobody is selling her and I don't know where to find her. And of course, now that Splash Mountain is being rethemed to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, she's probably gonna go up in price even if she does show up on eBay. But she's the only Attractionistas doll that I don't have to complete my collection, and I want her so bad because of that. Like, not because she's my favorite doll. Like, if she was in a lineup and I could only pick one, she would not be my first pick necessarily. Like, I love her, I think she's beautiful, but she's just, you know, she just happens to be one of the dolls in the lineup, and she's the only one stopping me from having a complete collection of these things. And you know me, I am obsessed with Disneyland. I love Disney just in general, like the theming, the stories, the movies, the music. I love everything about Disney, but my favorite thing is the parks. I love Disneyland. That's my personality. It's Disneyland. So for me to be able to have Disneyland themed dolls is really important to me, or it's just not important to me, it's just, it makes me really, really happy. And I have a couple. Like I have the 60th anniversary dolls that I was mentioning, and I have the Disney Fun Barbies that are dressed up as they're going to the parks. I love those dolls, which is why I wanted to start collecting the Attractionistas dolls, but this Briar is just like avoiding me, or she's evading me, that's the word. Anyway, I digress. I really want that doll and I would like to have her in my collection. She's just hard to find. Next up, let's talk about some more Disney. So I have some Disney limited edition dolls. Now, pretty much all of the Disney limited edition dolls, the main issue issue with them is if you didn't get them when they first came out, they are just more expensive now. They're available. They made enough of them and people sell them on eBay. They're just pricey and I don't know if I want to spend the money, or it's something I'm gonna have to save up for at some point in time. First off, we have the Little Mermaid 30th anniversary dolls. Now, there was 2 dolls that I'm aware of that came out, and I think one of them was released at like D23 maybe, but there was one of her as a mermaid, which I'm obsessed with, and I really, really want that one. They did also come out with one of her in her pink dress, which I love and I think is absolutely stunning, and I want that one as well. Out of the 2, I think I want the mermaid one just a little more because I'm obsessed with mermaids and I love the way that that particular one is designed, but I want both of these dolls. Next up on the Disney limited edition topic, there was the Midnight Masquerade line that came out a couple years ago, and there is an Esmeralda doll that I am obsessed with. First of all, I love Masquerade dolls, and I would love this entire line, but specifically Esmeralda. I think that Esmeralda is always like one of the most beautiful dolls that I've ever seen. That they always give her really beautiful face sculpts. I think just as a Disney character, she is stunning in her movie, but I'm obsessed with her big dresses that flare out and she dances and stuff because she's a gypsy. You know, I love it. And this doll, her dress that they gave her is inspired off of her like Festival of Fools like dress that she wears, the like purple and orange one, which by the way, you wouldn't think that purple and orange go together, but they do somehow. Or maybe it's a little bit more like pink than purple, but still, I don't know. It's inspired by her dress from the movie. I do have the one that you saw earlier, the one in her like signature outfit up there in a 17-inch doll, but this is, I believe, just an 11.5-inch doll. And I love the masquerade look. I love what they did to her dress and her outfit. It's so flowy and there's layers and it's just big and poofy and she is stunning. I want that doll. All right, so we have reached the top of the list. The next few dolls that are left in this list, these are all of like my top Grail dolls. These are the ones that I really want. They're not all hard to find. They're not all ridiculously expensive. I just haven't gotten them because like at the times that I look for them, either they are more pricey and I can't afford them at that time, or well, some of them are extremely expensive and you'll see when I talk about them. Anyway, first off, we have a Mycene Barbie. Now, I am obsessed with Mycene dolls. Like, I got a few recently, and then I got one from a subscriber in one of my mail openings, but I just realized that I really, really like Mycene dolls, and I'm kind of obsessed with them, especially when, I don't know if they did for Mycene dolls specifically, they actually had like 2 different eras, like one where their eyes were like bigger and open, and then another one where their eyes are a little more closed and a little more seductive. Those are the ones I love, the seductive eyes. Those dolls are my favorite from the Mycene dolls. But there is one very specific doll that I love above all others from the Mycene line, and of course that is the Mycene Masquerade Madness Mermaid Diva Chelsea. Now, of course, I like the whole Masquerade Madness line, and I do want all of the girls that are in that line that was released because they are all stunning, but I love mermaids. And Chelsea's a brunette, and she has really long hair, and she is just stunning. Her outfit, and I think she comes with other outfit pieces, like the whole thing, I love the color scheme that they picked out. I think it was designed beautifully. But yeah, I just think she is the most beautiful Mycene doll, at least in my opinion. I don't know how difficult she is to find. Like the last time I checked, there was several sellers selling her, but it was one of those situations where if I found a good price, it's because the hair was cut, or a dog chewed her hand off, or she was, you know, like completely naked, didn't have anything with her. But if I found her in a good condition, she was expensive. And if she was in box, forget about it. So I think other people have the same idea. I think other people really like this doll as well. But yeah, I'm definitely considering her one of my Grail dolls. So the next one on this list is not really a doll, although they are considered dolls, like they're listed as dolls in the toy aisle technically. But I am talking about a My Little Pony, and the reason that this one is on my list is a little different than some of the others. And it's also not the reason that some people might think when they see who it is. My holy grail of all My Little Ponies is Mimic. Now, of course, there are tons of My Little Ponies from the 80s that I don't own that I would love to own, and I would have loved to add them to this list, but it would have just made the list way too long. But one that I want above all others is Mimic. And of course, for some reason, Mimic just happens to be one of those ponies that everybody else wants too. So naturally, Mimic is ridiculously expensive on eBay. Now, my thing is, like, I don't know why other people want her. Like, I don't know what makes her so sought after and so expensive. But for me, I don't want her because she's sought after or because she's expensive. Like, I don't want her for bragging rights or anything like that. None of the items on this list are for that reason. They're all for personal reasons. But specifically for this pony, I want her because I had her when I was a kid. Like, I'm not joking. Here's a picture of me holding my two favorite ponies that my grandma bought me when I was a kid. Tic-Tac-Toe, which I actually still have. She's right here. But she also got me Mimic, and I don't know what happened to that pony. I love the coloring. I love that she's green. She's so pretty. She's a Twinkle Eye pony, which is one of my favorite lines that My Little Pony came out with. And she's so beautiful, and for nostalgia reasons, because I owned her, I want her back. Like, that's a buying back my childhood moment. But like, for some reason, everybody else wants her too. So she's like so expensive, so I haven't bought her. And I almost didn't want to say anything. Like, I didn't want to put her on this list because, like, I feel like when anybody makes one of these videos, they talk about their Grail. Oh, I just thought about that now. Like, literally every doll on this is gonna like go up in price on eBay because everybody else is gonna buy them. Don't buy my Grail dolls. I want them for me. No, but I genuinely almost thought about not talking about Mimic on this because, like, I didn't want other people to see it and be like, oh yeah, she's pretty, I'm gonna go buy her. And then like the price goes up. Yeah, no, I don't think that's actually gonna happen because I think most of my viewers are not My Little Pony collectors, they're more doll collectors. So like, I get that. And plus, I mean, she's already really expensive, so I don't know if anybody's just gonna go buy her. But she's one that I wouldn't mind saving up to eventually buy. I just feel bad paying, like, she's like $300, $400 on eBay. And I feel bad paying that amount for a single My Little Pony, especially like when a lot of the times they're not even that good of quality, or like they're, you know, they're older and they've been played with, so they're like not in a really good condition and they're still like $350. I don't know. Anyway, so Mimic is one of my top Holy Grail dolls, ponies, toys, whatever. All right, let's talk about the Spice Girls. The Spice Girls. Oh my gosh, Spice Girls. So, of course, I'm a huge fan of the Spice Girls. I always have been. Like, there has, like, since 1996, there has not been a single day that has gone by. Okay, maybe days when I happen to be in Disneyland, but there's not been like a week that has gone by that I haven't listened to the Spice Girls music. I still listen to it and love it, all of it. You know, I have never gotten tired of it. I love the Spice Girls so much. I used to be that kid where my entire wall was plastered with magazine clippings and just merchandise and stuff. I got like the little Chupa Chupa lollipops that they came out with back in the day, and then I'd take the wrappers and like clean them and then like tape them on my wall along with their posters and like the CD covers and stuff like that. Like, I was obsessed. One of the only things that like has survived over the years is this poster, which is why I have it on my door back here in all my videos, because I want to display my Spice Boy proudness. And of course, being a doll collector, I love the Spice Girls dolls. Now, they're kind of up in a place where I can't really grab them right now, but I have all of the on tour dolls because I think those were my favorite ones, and those are like the ones that are not like super expensive to get on eBay. So, and I had a couple of them when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to the ones that I had when I was a kid, but now I bought them back and I have them in box, which I'm thinking about unboxing because I'm an out of box collector and they're not too terribly expensive. So like, maybe I'll get another set to keep in box, and like whichever one is in better quality, I'll keep in the box, and then the other one I'll take out of the box. But like I said, I'll do that if I buy a second set of them. But yeah, I love the on tour dolls, and I love all the other ones, and I didn't realize how many of them came out, but I would love to own all of the Spice Girls dolls. But my Holy Grail Spice Girls dolls are hard to find and really expensive and fit all of the qualifications, and I want them more than any of the other Spice Girls dolls. They are the Viva Forever dolls. Now, there's technically two... My voice just cracked. There is technically two lines of Viva Forever dolls. So the first ones are the Viva Forever Spice Girls dolls that came with the little fairy finger puppets. Those dolls are wearing their concert outfits from, I believe it was their Spice World tour in '97. I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's the outfits that they're wearing. And the little finger puppets are the little stop motion animation fairies that they used for the music video, which I'm obsessed with, by the way. I love those little fairies. I think they're so cute. I don't remember the name of the company that made the music video, but it's the same company that made like Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep and Chicken Run. Like that stop motion animation company also did the Spice Girls music video. But I love those fairies, and I really, really I love the dolls, and I love the fairies, and I want those dolls because they have the little finger puppet fairies, and I love them. The second line of Viva Forever dolls are the ones that came with the cassette tape, where I believe it was, you could either watch the music video or like their live performance. I don't remember which one it was. But those ones look like deluxe dolls. Like Posh Spice is wearing like a gold dress with a freaking feather boa, and like Baby Spice is wearing her blue coat with the fur trims and everything. Like these are really good dolls, like the way they're designed, and their outfits are recreations of what they wore on stage. But I think they are absolutely stunning. I want both of the Viva Forever lines. I know that's like 8 dolls, but I'm keeping them as one entry. They are holy grail dolls for me. I want them because I'm not just gonna want one, I'm gonna want the whole set for those ones. All right, so we're coming up to the last 3 of my grail dolls. I know this video has been a little bit longer than I expected it to, but anyway. So next up is a doll that I completely slept on because I had an opportunity to buy her, but I didn't, and I regret it. I then later tried to buy her from eBay from a secondhand seller because I got a decent price. Something happened and the seller canceled the order, and I wasn't able to get her. And I do still plan to order her at some point in time, hopefully, if I can find another good price. But of course I am talking about the 70th anniversary Alice in Wonderland Mary Blair designed doll. Now when she came out, I was a little confused at her design and I wasn't sure if I was gonna get her or not, and I waited and then I missed out on buying her. And then of course I got extremely angry at myself for doing that because I could own her right now. I could have got her at retail price, but I didn't. So now I'm gonna have to get her from a third-hand, like, what? So now I'm gonna have to get her second-hand from a third-party seller, whatever you want to call it. But I genuinely think that she is beautiful. Plus, Marie Blair is a legendary designer for so many things at Disneyland. And once again, I've said it so many times, I'm obsessed with Disneyland and I love that. So like, it's Alice in Wonderland, which I collect anyway. Disneyland inspired. Like I love everything about this doll and I need her in my life. After that is actually another limited edition Alice doll, and this probably would have been my #1 and was my #1 for a while until I like was trying to make this list and I realized how much I wanted the doll that is in my #1 spot. But anyway, the next one is the limited edition 17-inch Alice in Wonderland doll that came out a while ago. She came out several years ago, and she is now one of the most expensive dolls to buy secondhand ever. Like, I know she's not the most expensive, and I know that she's not even like probably in the top like 3 or 4 or 5 even, but she is definitely really expensive. I'm talking about you're gonna have to pay like $5,000, $6,000 to get this doll. But it is the Alice in Wonderland doll with like the tiered ruffled dress. She's holding a teacup. She's 17 inches, super long hair, freaking gorgeous. The story goes that she was released without any like promotional, like Disney didn't say they were releasing this doll. She just showed up, and then she was like a limit of like, what, 500? Yeah, they only made 500 of this doll. So like, she popped up out of nowhere and nobody was buying her, apparently, from what I heard. But I guess she wasn't very popular when she came out because nobody knew she had come out. Like, at least the doll collectors didn't know she came out. So nobody was really buying her at first, so it wasn't hard to get her. And then, you know, eventually collectors caught on to there was this Alice doll out there and people bought her. But Disney didn't really put a lot of effort into like advertising this doll or like anything. Like, I don't know, they just kind of did it on a whim. I don't know, like, I don't know the full story, but that's like the story I was told. Anyway, she wasn't super popular at first, but like after she sold out, people started realizing, oh, this is a gorgeous doll, I want her. And, you know, people would resell her and people would buy her and the prices went up and the value went up. And because instead of like nowadays, you've got these dolls that have like, you know, they're out of like 9,000 or something like that. There'll be like 8,500 of them made or something. This doll only had 500 dolls worldwide made total, which is a small number. 500 is a big number in general, but when you think about how many people exist in the world and how many doll collectors are out there and stuff like that, and even just Disney doll collectors, not even like collectors that don't collect Disney, but other dolls, you know, like there's so many collectors out there and there's only 500 of them. That's not a lot when compared to like other limited edition doll releases. So naturally, there's not a lot of them. She's hard to find. You have to find somebody who's actually willing to sell her, you know, and stuff like that. And because she's really sought after and they're hard to find, naturally, she's extremely expensive. And the reason she was in my #1 place is because A, she's gorgeous, B, she's Alice in Wonderland and I collect Alice in Wonderland, but C, because she's so expensive and hard to get that I don't think that I will ever actually own her. I would love to. She is one of my top Grail dolls and I would love to own her. I just don't know if it's gonna happen. And like, yeah, just being realistic. Anyway, that has brought us to the end of our list, and I'm going to talk about my #1 Grail doll. And I'm wondering if anybody has guessed what the doll is watching this video, because I have mentioned this doll in previous videos before. I don't talk about it a lot, but I have mentioned it. But I think that this doll is probably like my #1 spot purely because it's from my favorite doll line. And it is extremely well designed in my opinion, and so many details, and just like it's a character I'm obsessed with. But of course, I am talking about the San Diego Comic-Con release of Cerise Wolf. Not Cerise Hood, Cerise Wolf. This doll is exquisite. Ever After High is my #1 favorite doll line of all time. I love the way that they're designed, I love the concept behind it, and I love the characters. I also really enjoyed watching the cartoon, if I'm being honest. But I mentioned earlier that somehow I became obsessed with Cerise Hood. Like, Madeline Hatter is my favorite character from Ever After High, and she's my favorite to collect the dolls for. But in second place is Cerise Hood for some reason. What's cool about the San Diego Comic-Con releases is that the characters that they did, the dolls, were as if that character followed their destiny. Like, if you're familiar with the Ever After High storyline, it's about like the sons and daughters of famous fairy tale characters and following in their parents' footsteps, following their destiny, as it were. For example, I do have the San Diego Comic-Con release of Cedar Wood back here, and she's a marionette puppet because she's the daughter of Pinocchio. Which, by the way, that's actually one of my favorite dolls in my collection just because it's so cool, so well designed, and there's actually marionette strings so you can actually like control her in the box. It's so good. Maybe I'll make a separate video about that doll. I'm not going to unbox her completely, but I might make just a dedicated video to that doll because I don't think I have before, and that doll is so cool. But yeah, talking about Cerise Wolf. But if you don't know, spoiler alert, Cerise Hood is the daughter of Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. So yeah, apparently Little Red and the Big Bad Wolf got together and had a baby. Had 2 babies because Cerise has a sister. But yeah, this whole time everybody's like, oh, you're gonna be the next Little Red Riding Hood. But her father is the Big Bad Wolf. So what if she followed in the footsteps of her father instead? That's what this doll is themed after. And I love it. The details are amazing. The accessories she comes with, the way that her outfit is designed, the wolf head on top of her hood, her face up is stunning. I love that she has little wolf ears, which is what she has in the cartoon as well, and I don't think any of her other dolls ever had that. She's got the fur trim on everything, she's got the boots, she's got the cape. Also, the box she comes in is amazing. It's a nightmare to display because it takes up so much space, but she is running through the woods in a book. Like, it is so well designed. It looks so cool. And I am fully obsessed with this doll. It is not the most expensive doll on this list, but she's up there. And because it's San Diego Comic-Con, she's sought after, she's hard to find, and she's expensive when you do find her. So that's the only reason I don't have her. But she is my #1, and I would love to own that doll. So anyway, that was my list of my Grail dolls. I've done a lot of talking, and this list ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be, and this video ended up being longer than I thought it was going to be. So I don't know if I decided to split this and that collection shelf into 2 separate videos, or if I'm going to do them all in one video or not. At the time of filming this, I was going to put them all in one video, but how long it took me to get through this list, I might do them separately. I don't know. I'll figure. Obviously, by the time this is up, you'll know. But if that was in a separate video, I'll have the link at the end of this video. And if it was in this video, I hope you enjoyed that beginning part of the video. Anyway, I gotta get going because Ed is coming over and we're gonna be big nerds and play Final Fantasy XI online. If you're not playing Final Fantasy XI online and you play video games, you should play because it's fun. And I'm playing on the Horizon server, which is a private server, but I mean, it's public, anybody can do it and it's free to play. But if you enjoy MMORPGs, you should play with us because it's only like, the server is all one server, unlike the retail version of the game that has multiple servers. So if you play Horizon, I'll be on there and we can play together. But anyway, I'm gonna get going for right now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments down below. Was any of the dolls on this list also on your Grail list? I'm really curious to know if we have like any crossover there. But I'm gonna get going for right now, and I keep saying that. I think I've said that 3 times already, so I'm just gonna do it. Bye. If you like this video, you can let me know by hitting thumbs up. You can check out some of my other videos by clicking one of the links on the screen. I post new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified every time I upload. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.